Hey y'all, my name is MaiyaAziza. Welcome back to my channel, and I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. This video was really random. I know I haven't recorded in a while, and I felt the need to just speak up on some things that I never told you guys, just as to why I was gone for so long, why I just popped up out the blue after like 3 years and started recording. So I need some water. I need to get some water, but I need to get some water before I be dehydrated. I'm just gonna come out and say it, you guys. The reason why I was gone for so long was because I found out that I am unspecified schizophrenic. There you go, I said it. I'm schizophrenic. I've known for about 3 years that I'm schizophrenic, diagnosed by a doctor, schizophrenic. Oh, another thing is, I'm sorry if it's like all over the place because I really don't know where to start. Like, I don't know where to start because my mind is all over the place right now because this video is totally random. I just woke up this morning and was like, let me just explain to them why I've been gone. You know, that's really important. Like, it looks weird for me not to have been on here for 3 years. So let me go ahead and explain why, you know. So, sorry. Let me explain to y'all the definition. Well, let me read to you guys the definition of schizophrenia. So schizophrenia is a disorder that affects a person's ability to think, feel, and behave clearly. And if you guys hear noise in the background, it's because I live with other people and they're loud. So yeah. Hopefully you guys can hear me clearly. I'm doing the best that I can. Okay. So the exact cause of schizophrenia isn't known, but a combination of genetics, environment, and an altered brain chemistry and structure may play a role. See, I have a tongue thrusting problem. You guys know this, and it's hard for me to read sometimes, but don't play on me. Schizophrenia is also characterized by thoughts or experiences that seem out of touch with reality, disorganized speech or behavior, and decreased participation in daily activities. Difficulty with concentration and memory may also be present. Treatment is usually lifelong and often involves a combination of medication, psychotherapy, and coordinated specialty care services. So they're saying that schizophrenia is lifelong, which I believe that it is, because honestly, if I was off my medicine, I don't know what would happen. I've never tried to just be off my medicine. Well, I have tried and it didn't go as well, which I'm going to explain to you guys too. So I told you I'm all over the place right now. And I just want to say, disclaimer to anybody who is going through this, I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong, but I know that it's different for everybody. Everybody goes through different mental illnesses differently, so they process their thought differently. So this is just my take on my schizophrenic episodes or my schizophrenic experience. I had my son in 2015, and I believe that I was going through postpartum depression because I didn't really have any like moral support, like besides my mom and my dad. Like my baby's father, we were together for I think 4 years before we had our child, and we were very close, but after we had our baby, we kind of separated. We didn't click anymore. So I didn't really have that support from like the guy that's in your life, besides your father, you know, the guy that's in your life, to really be there for me, not just our child. Like, I needed the support as well. I needed that too. So it was very hard for me. Not blaming him. He's a great father, an awesome father, hands down. No comparison at all to any other parents out there or fathers. He's a great father. But just at that time, we were so young. We were only like 21 and 22, and it was just hard. We were struggling with money. He was working multiple jobs. I was not working any job at all, and I had to rely on what I had already. And it was just very hard because money was very tight. Money was so tight. So, and people who knew us at the time and would see us going places and going out and stuff like that, they never really would guess that we were struggling because we always just held it together. Which is what most people do. They hold it together, which is a very good strong suit. But it wasn't healthy. So I held a lot in, but I did write a lot. I wrote a lot, and honestly, that's when I started talking to myself a lot. I talked to myself a whole lot. And it's not a big deal when you talk to yourself. The problem is when you start answering yourself. That is the problem. And I was really, really answering myself. Like, really starting to hear the voices in my head. Like, really talking to me, telling me what to do, who doesn't like you. You know, just misconceptions in my head. Like, really hearing things. And with my schizophrenia, when I get sick, I start to get really like religious. And everybody who knows me knows I'm not a really religious person. So it's like, what is going on? Like, is the world about to end? You know, am I going to hell? Like, I don't know. It just got really scary for me. Like, I remember like trying to commit suicide. Like, I tried to commit suicide a couple of times. And I guess I'll get to that too. This video is gonna be pretty long, so might as well get your popcorn out. It's gonna be pretty long. And it's weird how I can just talk about it now, because before I couldn't even talk about it. Like, I would just get so emotional and I could not talk about it. I had my son in 2015. Oh no, I said that already. What am I talking about? See, that's what I needed to write this stuff down and jot down bullet points of everything, because I really need that. I need bullet points right now. Started hearing the voices in 2016 after my son's first birthday. I started hearing the voices, and you guys, I had beautiful hair. My hair was so long. Like, I had beautiful curly hair. My bush was very big. I know I'm rambling, but at that point I meant to tell y'all that I cut all my hair off completely and went bald, like fade. If you guys look at my old video, I had lots of hair. And some of the videos that I have, I just have them on private, because I do have other videos, but you can tell that I was sick, so I had to go ahead and like cover those up, put those on private, because I don't want you guys. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to let you guys see that at that point in time what was going on. Like, why was I, like, you could tell I was sick. You can definitely tell. Because like, you can't differentiate what's real and what's not when you're schizophrenic and not on your medication. Like, you cannot differentiate what's real and what is in your head. Like, I really thought I was singing with Drake one day. Like, I thought I was singing on a song with Drake in the radio. This is when it all clicked. I was in the car with my son's father, and I heard a Drake song, the song Controller. I started singing it in the car, and I really thought that I was singing it with Drake. Like, I thought that I was singing it with him, and nobody could tell me shit. Like, I went home to my sister's house. I started living with my sister too. I'm just a nomad. I was living everywhere. And I started living with my sister, and I came home, and I was like, sis, like, I was singing with Drake. Like, I was on the radio singing with Drake, and she was like, for real, let me go look and see. Like, we were looking on Twitter and stuff like that, and I'm just like, in my head, I really sang with Drake that night. But I was tripping. then it started to be really weird because I felt as though I even thought my child wasn't mine. Like, it was really that bad. I even believed that he wasn't mine, but I never said anything. I still took care of him because he is mine, but I still took care of him as if he was mine, which he is, you know. But I believed in my head, the voices kept telling me that this is not your son. The government replaced your son with a new baby. It was the fucking weirdest shit ever. It was the fucking weirdest shit. And I can still remember these things to this day because it traumatized me. Like, I can still remember it. And so I guess I couldn't live with my sister anymore because like it became too bad. I was coming in the house smelling like weed and she didn't like that. Like, I was smoking heavy. I was just really stressed out, like very stressed. And I started living with my dad again because I lived with my dad before when I first got when I first had my baby. I started living with my mom first and then my dad and then to my sisters and back to my dad's. And my dad was really a good help to me. Like, he was taking care of me and my son on days that I could not get out the bed. Like, I could not wake up out the bed, like, because I was just so depressed, so out of it. Like, I could not get up. And my dad would take my son and feed him breakfast every morning, give him baths, change his diaper, you know, just really take care of my son. And I was really contemplating life. Like, I remember taking a handful of pills. Don't even know what type of pills they were. I took because my dad has medicine for his knees and his back because he used to work at the refinery. So he has medicine for that, like pills for that. So I remember I took a handful of pills and I took them. And I just laid in bed. I just waited for myself to just die. Like, I just waited for myself to just go away. And as I was fading, I felt myself fading. I'm sorry the story's everywhere, you guys, but it's just how it was. I remember bits and pieces because of the voices. I kept hearing voices, so I don't remember the whole full story of when I first found out I was schizophrenic. So I just remember fading, and then so I remember fading, and then all of a sudden I just threw up. I threw up the pills like everywhere. And my dad came in and they seen it was throw up everywhere. They had to help clean me up, and good thing I did throw up because I would have been dead. Like, good thing God saw it as it's not your time to die, Maya. Like, it's not your time. But I wasn't satisfied with that because I did attempt again. And I was working at Clinique at the time, and I was supposed to go to work, but the voices had told me, I'm trying not to cry. The voices had told me I needed to like hurt the person who was harming my child. I believe somebody was harming my baby. And for some reason, I thought that it was somebody that I knew close to me that I really had trust for, but I believed that they were hurting my child. So in turn, I wound up hurting them, and this is when it all went downhill for me. Like, I wound up going into custody, being charged with a felony. I was charged with a felony, yes. And well, this is actually before. Let me tell you about the part before I got charged with the felony. The next day after I took the pills and threw up everything like that, threw up all the pills everywhere, I called 911. Well, I called 911 on myself because I was so scared. I called 911 on myself because the TV at that point was talking to me. The TV was even talking to me. And I called 911 on myself, and I told them that I was trying to kill myself. And so they came, and you know, when you call 911 for stuff like that, they're not gonna play with that at all. gonna come as soon as possible because they don't want, you know, you don't want you to do that. You know, they came and picked me up, and I remember reaching for the policeman's gun, because they put me inside of this hospital bed, the ambulance. They put me in a hospital bed, and they would bring me to a mental hospital. But before they brought me, I remember I tried to reach for the policeman's gun so I can go ahead and off myself. And they grabbed me, and they were like, I wasn't able to get it because obviously his alerts were super fast and mine were probably really slow because I was still out of it. And so they put me in the ambulance, and I went to a hospital called Kinder, Louisiana. No, I went to a hospital called Allen Parish Hospital in Kinder, Louisiana. And I stayed there for about a week, worked with a great nurse named Jordan, and she really nursed me back to health. I was being nursed back to health, but that's where I was diagnosed with schizophrenia because I told the doctor I was hearing voices and hallucinating and trying to commit suicide too. And so they diagnosed me with unspecified schizophrenia, and I knew I wasn't all the way okay, and they put me on medicine I was taking at the time, Lexapro, and I was taking, I believe it was Invega. I was taking Invega. It's two psychiatric medicines. One was for depression and one was for the schizophrenia. Lexapro was for depression. And so I was taking that and wind up being discharged at the end of the week. And I remember I was supposed to get my medication filled so I could be okay. But, you know, me thinking, I'm not schizophrenic. Like, what? Like, it's just the drugs. Like, I'm not schizophrenic. It's just, you know, I don't know. Definitely not that. Like, I'm not schizophrenic. I remember not filling my medication. So I went back home that Friday, and then that next day, I was supposed to be going to work. No, I think it was a Sunday. I might have been okay the next day, and then when that Sunday came, I was supposed to be going to work, but I didn't have work that day. The voices would tell me that you need to hurt the person that's hurting your son, which nobody was hurting my son, nobody. But I don't know. I still don't know to this day. I'm sure it's still wrinkled. Gosh, I still don't know to this day why I believe that I need to harm somebody because they were hurting my child. I don't know why. I really don't know why. So the person who I did harm came to the house that day, and I wound up literally like stabbing him. I stabbed him in the back, and I just thank God he didn't have to go to the hospital. I thank God that he was wearing multiple clothing items, to whereas the knife did not penetrate his skin as deeply as it did. It literally was a band-aid cut. At this point, the police was called. They called the police on me. The one I did harm called the police on me, and because they were scared, I would have called the police too, but they were scared, and so they called the police. And after I was detained and everything, the police still wound up taking me in to custody. They brought me to the precinct. You know, at the precinct is when you go ahead and the precinct is where you go and you tell what happened, basically, why you did what you did with the crime, whatever like that. I don't think anybody really tells them themselves, but as you can tell, nobody really is going to say why they did what they did because they don't want to go to jail. Like, nobody's going to do that. But me, on the other hand, I went up in there full-fledged telling everything that I did and why I did it. That's how you could tell I was not in my right mind. So I went to the precinct and I told everything that I did and why I did it. So basically, it looked premeditated. So I wound up going to jail for 3 months. They found me not guilty by reason of insanity. And I wound up being charged with a felony. and they sent me to a hospital, okay? And it was a mental hospital. So keep in mind, I was already, okay, well, back to jail. I'm gonna go back to jail. When I was in jail, I did try to commit suicide again, and I did swallow a bar of soap, okay? And if you were in jail before, you know the bars of soap in jail are not, I mean, any bar of soap, what am I talking about? Any bar of soap. Yeah, it's not okay to just swallow. So I had a bar of soap, and I was reading, like I told y'all, I got over religious when I was going through my schizophrenic breakthrough or breakdown or whatever, and I got really religious. So I started reading the Bible, and I felt like the Bible was telling me these things, like, because I don't really read the Bible, so I don't really know how to interpret it. So I was reading it very carnally, and I was reading, and it was telling me something, but I don't remember the time. I don't remember the exact words. It's been years, but I thought that it was telling me to commit suicide. So I went and I swallowed a bar of soap. So if they didn't come in and see me just like choking on the bar of soap, they would have never took me to the hospital. I would have been dead today. I would have been dead to this day, unless God did a miracle. Which he did, but letting people know that I was choking on a bar of soap. So they wanted to rush me to the hospital, and resuscitated me with the bar of soap. And I also, before I swallowed the bar of soap, I swallowed a little toothbrush too. If you've been to jail, you know there's little tiny toothbrushes they give you, and I swallowed that too. So that one I'm coming out later the hard way. And so my throat was burning for about 2 weeks because I was trying to swallow. I couldn't eat anything because I had burned my throat with the soap. So my throat was really bad for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks probably. And yeah, jail was not a fun experience at all. It was just like the dirtiest place to be. Just gross, like gross. And you don't put nobody who was obviously mentally ill, you don't put them in jail. You don't do that. That's not what you do. So when they sent me to the mental hospital later, I was there for 14 months, and it was more so of a jail facility mental hospital. So it was nothing nice. We were locked in a room, a big room. They locked us in that room overnight, every day, throughout the day. They lock you in that room. You're not allowed to go out on your own. You're not allowed to go outside on your own. You're only allowed to basically go to the cafeteria and go to rec. Rec was where we listened to music, colored, played spades, which is where I learned to play spades at. And that's basically it. And I stayed there for 14 months. And keep in mind, I was good. I was my mind was much better. I was fine on my medicine. At that point, I started taking the Abilify. I was fine on that. I did gain so much weight. I got to be I want to say 193. I was 193, and I was coming from being 130 to 193. So I gained 60 pounds. So it was really stressful. I ain't gonna lie, it was stressful because I was okay. At that point, I was stable on my medicine, and at that point, you're just keeping me now. The process is going slower because there are some women that I met that were in that hospital that's been there for 20 years. So I could have got stuck there. I really could have got stuck. Any little fight, anything, I could have got stuck there. And I did get into arguments, but never no major fights because I knew what I was riding on. I needed to get back to my son. But most of the time, the arguments are with people who just want to pick because they know that you're in your right mind and they're not in their right mind. So they pick. And and sometimes it would even be the guards. The guards that were there, they would pick with you because they know that you were okay and they knew that you were on your way out. So they would pick with you just to see how you react to that. But I wasn't stupid. I basically got better, went to counseling while I was there, and we did have counseling too. So I went to counseling while I was there, and just, oh wow, it was an experience. Wow, like 14 months is not a joke. Like, I had to go on a review panel and everything, and a review panel is basically where they are deliberating and analyzing you, asking you questions on if they really feel that you're going to be okay in the real world. So it's like my life was in their hands. I to this day don't know how I got out. I only through the Most High, really, but it was hard. So I wound up getting out in July of 2018, and I went back to live with my dad because I want to be on probation. So I'm on probation now. I have 3 years left, but of course they can add more years if they want to. But right now I have 3 years left of probation. I have 5 in total. So when I first got out, I went live with my dad, and I was going to this program on Loyola in New Orleans, and it was at a aftercare clinic. So I was going to receive treatment and see a psychiatrist and stuff like that. I was fine, like I'm doing fine, doing great. And here and there I would slip up. I was drinking alcohol, drinking wine, stuff like that, thinking that, I'm free now. Like, I'm not on probation. Like, I could do what I want. Even though I was on probation and I was technically not free. So, also, I was not free in mind. Like, I knew that it potentially could harm my thought process. By me drinking alcohol, I could potentially harm my thought process. It's crazy. Like, why would you do that? My birthday in 2018, I got really, really drunk. Really drunk. And that was a big mistake, because from then on, I thought that it was okay, because I got drunk that night and I was like, oh, well, I didn't hear voices. Like, I'm good. Like, this medicine I'm on is fine. I can do what I want. But you can't do what you want when you're on probation. You just can't. You just can't do it, because they have your life in your hands. You can't do it. And you shouldn't want to, knowing that you have mental illness that could backtrack you. And so I remember for New Year's Eve, I went and I smoked marijuana, thinking that it was okay. I would be fine. Okay. It's gonna be okay. It's nothing, you can handle it. But I couldn't. From that night on and the rest of that week, I was taught. The voices definitely came back. The voices came back and I was hallucinating. And this time, it was more hallucinations than voices. So hallucinations are more scarier than the voices. Way scarier. I was seeing demons, black eyes. My people who are around me, they were having black eyes. It was the scariest shit ever. Like, they had black eyes, and I just couldn't see what was real and what was fake. It was the scariest shit I've ever experienced. So I remember I even stuck my hand through a fan. Like, that's how scary. Like, I was doing some crazy ass stuff. Like, I remember I even went in the woods. I was looking, because I remember I told you I get over religious. So I went in the woods, and my mom and my dad came out there looking for me. And I told my dad, hey, no, you're not my father. You're not my father. Like, I was doing lots of crazy things. And I went in the woods with no shoes on, shorts, and a tank top. And I remember I had cuts all on my legs. My legs were cut up like whelps. Cut all my legs from the rose bushes, like cut up. And then I walked out the woods after being bloody, like I was really cut up bad. Now I don't have any cuts now because I'm healed now. But I did have cuts everywhere. Like, it was pretty scary. So I walked out the woods and I started stripping my clothes off. I took all my clothes off and I just walked throughout the neighborhood, and they were looking for me. So they drove in my mom's car, and they found me, and they found me walking. So my dad was trying to put me in the car, but I was refusing. I was fighting and I was refusing to get in the car because I thought that this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. This is what the voices are telling me. This is what I'm supposed to be doing to find me God. I'm looking for God. I'm going to meet God. So I stripped naked and I looked for God throughout the neighborhood. Like, really not funny. It's not funny and it's not cool. Like, my dad was so pissed. He was so pissed. They were both so pissed at me, my mom and my dad, because I know they have high hopes for me. But it's like I backtracked because I just thought I could do what I could do, like I did before. I thought I could do what I did before. That's not so. So anyways, I went back to the hospital. They brought me back to the hospital. I stayed at the hospital again from January 2019 to May 2019. So that time it was shorter, but that's because I worked very hard to get out the hospital. I got back on my medicine, stabilized, and knew what I needed to do, knew that I had a mental illness. I believe that I have a mental illness. I know now that I have one. So that's why it was harder for me to accept the things that I can't do anymore, you know? So, yeah, wow. Sorry, I hit it. So I stayed in a group home when I got out. I stayed in a group home for about a year. I just actually moved into a house I'm in now. This is me now. This is my house. I'm back on track. Like, I'm doing so much better now. And most people are like, oh, a group home. But it's not what you think. Like, it was really a good lesson to be learned at that group home. And I learned so much about myself. So, I mean, like, how do you end this video? Like, how do I end it? Because it was all over the place. I don't know how you know how to end it. All I can really say is, if you're going through what I went through, if you're going through depression, if you're going through hearing voices, anything like that, then talk to somebody, please. Please talk to somebody. Please admit yourself in the hospital and don't be embarrassed to do it. Please talk to somebody. My mom had to take the splinters out of my legs and my feet, okay, with tweezers. That's how many splinters were inside of my legs and my feet. They had to rub my skin down in this soap that it hurt. It hurt me because I had so many cuts on my legs. It's not worth hurting yourself. It's not worth it at all. Get help if you need help. Please. Please get help. And I'm thankful and I'm blessed that I'm still here. I'm thankful that people that have been with me throughout this whole journey, all my friends, my family, who've been sticking with me and seeing me for who I really am. I thank y'all for that. My son, my beautiful, beautiful son, who has been a blessing to me, who has been keeping me motivated and keeping me going. I thank you so much, my baby. I love you so much. If you are judging me right now, I really don't care. I had to get that out. I needed y'all to know what happened, why I was gone for so long. But it's only up from here. It's only up from here. Thank you for watching. Did I just blow?